As you guys are aware, I have a 2003 Z06 that I just turned 260,000 miles on. It's my baby, I love it. I don't know what I'd do without it in my life. So this week, I bought an inexpensive set of long tube headers and an X-pipe. I'm going to put those on this car, and I'm going to retain the original titanium mufflers that came on it. Now, I had a boreless system on this car for a long time, but it was the ATAC system, and as good as it sounded outside the car, as I get older and more fussy, it just got too loud inside the car. So I was like, let's just put the stock mufflers back on. Well, now it's too quiet, so I'm going to do the long tube header thing, and I'm not worried about necessarily getting more power, but several people I've talked to who know a lot more about performance mods than I do said doing those long tube headers in an X-pipe with the stock titanium exhaust can sound really good. So we'll find out. But that got me thinking, what else would I like to do? If I had unlimited funds to pour into this car, like let's say I had $40,000 that somebody just said, here's 40 grand, but you can only use it to work on your car. Okay, here's what I'd do. First of all, I'd start with the Widebody kit from C7 Carbon. There's a lot of Widebody kits out there, but this one I've always loved. It's ridiculously expensive. It's like $13,000 before shipping, but I love how the widened stance has kind of that Coke bottle effect like the C3 did. It doesn't have just tacked on extended fenders. I love the C5R hood that is actually a full clamshell that opens up and kind of replaces your front fenders. So when you open the hood, you see everything. Functional vents in the hood, I think, is really awesome. I also like how the taillights are recessed with kind of a built-in lip spoiler in the back bumper. That body I would absolutely do on this car. To that body, I would add a set of forged Apex racing wheels. Because I spend so much time dabbling in the world of motorsport with my son doing his racing and with Steve doing his stuff at the track, I would want a set of actual motorsport wheels because they look really aggressive and I know that they're going to stand the test of time. Even though they're a little more expensive than just regular wheels, those I think would be great. Behind those wheels, I would install the Wilwood Brake Kit. I've seen this on some cars, and man, if you're going to have big, impressive, wide wheels, which I would have with that wide body kit, having that big Wilwood Brake Kit in there would look incredible. Granted, it's also going to give you far greater stopping power at the limit. Granted, I probably won't push it that far, but I bet if I let my son drive the car, he could. So the big brake kit, the wheels, the wide body. Mating with that for the suspension, I'd actually do a set of coilovers just because I think I'd like the adjustability on the ride height. I would also be interested in being able to speak more intelligently to you guys about what coilovers feel like. Now, Steve's blue race car has coilovers in it, but I can't fit in the darn thing, so I can't ride in it to give you an idea of what the differences are between a stock Z06 and Steve's car. So I would do coilovers. I will tell you this, talking to some former GM engineers about switching to coilovers on the C5, C6, they do recommend adding additional supports to the shock mounts on the frame because they weren't designed to hold the weight of the car. That's what the transverse leaf spring did. So if you're going to do coilovers, definitely do think about adding some additional supports to those mounting points. I know I would. Outside all of that, I'm not going to paint the car. I would actually wrap the car, and I would do it in a beautiful matte graphite. This picture here is a good example of the way I'd like the car to look. It's aggressive, it's different, and I love that it's kind of a Batmobile look, which I'm a huge Batman fan. If anybody knows me, they can tell you. I would love to do that matte wrap with those cool Apex wheels, the big brakes, tinted windows, and that wide body kit. So that would pretty much cover the outside of the car. I've already got the LED lights, I've already got the sleepy eyes, I would keep all that. Going inside the car, one of my big problems, as you're probably aware if you watch my videos, is I'm just under 6'11". So squeezing into a Z06 of any kind is tight. It's not uncomfortable necessarily, but it's tight. I don't have the room to steer the wheel aggressively without hitting my knees. I'm constantly having to drive with my head a little bit forward because even with the seat in the lowest position, I'm still hitting that dip in the headliner that 03 and 04 Z06s had. So what I would do is I would get a set of Tillet B8 carbon seats. These are basically just a carbon fiber shell that you can mount directly to the floor in the car. And that would, I believe, give me all of the room I would need to be able to sit comfortably and maybe even wear a helmet in the car. Because one of my great dreams would be, I've been to countless racetracks with my son. I've watched him race 100 times, and I've never been able to share a ride around a racetrack with him because I don't fit in anything wearing a helmet. Well, if I built this car with these seats, I believe I would be able to fit in it with a helmet, and I could finally get that very well-deserved and very, very expensive in the review ride from my son. That would be a dream come true. To help get it in and out, you'll notice the Tillet B8 doesn't have the really high sides to the seats. Traditional racing seats are really, really deep to hold your hips in place. I'm not going to need that kind of support because I'm not a good enough driver to need that support. But my concern would be getting in and out of the car is going to be a problem. That's why I like the Tillet seat with the lower bolsters. That would allow ingress and egress easier. Going along with that, I would also do a nice OMP steering wheel with a Sparco quick release so that I can have the wheel off of the car, which makes getting in and out easier, plus a wheel with a smaller diameter. Even if I still had my knees kind of up in the way, I'd be able to actively turn the wheel without having to shift my hands to not hit my knee. So those are the changes I would make. I know that it will never happen because I'm never going to have that amount of money to dump into this old car. But if I can make my dream car out of this car, that's what I do. Now, I've given you some ideas here. I know that everybody out there has their own particular vision of what they'd like to do with their car. In the comments below, if you get a chance, tell me about what you do. And I don't care if you have a C2, a C8, whatever. What is your vision in 100 words or less of what you'd like to see done given a relatively unlimited budget? Because I'm always looking forward to new ideas as well. So that's basically just what I wanted to share with you. This is my dream 03 Z06, and this is the way I would make it. What would you do? Let's find out.